What's going on, everybody? For the New River Battalion, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Harrison, and you're watching Torch Ones, the show of answers to your burning questions and even hotter wings. And today, we decide to gain a whole new perspective. What's up? Hey guys, before we go down, what's your experience with spicy food?
It is the bane of my existence. Almost killed me in Ethiopia.
It's gonna be a good time today.
Non-existent.
Well, we're gonna discover some new horizons. Let's go. Hey, welcome back. Thanks to the Virginia Tech Corps Cadets Rappel Tower Committee for hosting us today. It was an awesome experience to test our nerves a little bit on the wall and get some new perspective on life. And today, and now, we're gonna test some different nerves. I know you're excited, Shannon. Shannon, can you explain where we are right now?
Yes, sir. So right now we're at the Corps Cadets Rappel Tower, formerly known as the Ranger Tower, and we're ready to dive from some heat.
All right, so we got two guests today that are seniors in Army ROTC. I'm explaining who they are. Shannon Hutchens was born in Rochester, New York, but calls Nokesville, Virginia home, just down the street from Quantico and within the National Capital Region. She is currently our Battalion Operations Officer, was on a semester abroad in the fall, and was the Corps' 4th Battalion Training Officer and November Company 1st Sergeant last year. Shannon will commission in 3 short weeks as a military intelligence officer and hopes to follow in her father's footsteps to be stationed as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division Knees in the Breeze, America's Guard of Honor. Jack Doty was born in Lompoc, California, but has, quote, moved around a lot, though he currently calls Davidson, North Carolina, a suburb of Charlotte, home. He's our Battalion Executive Officer in Army RTC and a member of India Company in the Corps. He is also participating in a family tradition of service with his father and grandfather serving in our Air Force, and he will join Shannon at Fort Huachuca as a military intelligence officer quite soon.
Howdy.
All right, well, hey, our first sauce came to us courtesy of our PMS, Colonel Surrey. He brought it back. It's Cajun themed, and I think it's going to be really fun. I hope you enjoy it.
Alrighty. I like the taste of this one.
All right, Shannon and Jack, you've both spent quite a lot of time outside of our nation, visiting various countries and doing really cool things. What did you learn about yourself and about what it means to be an American on your travels?
So I'd say the biggest thing, I went to Latvia in Lithuania, and I think the biggest thing I learned about myself over there was that despite different cultures and different mindsets, that I'm still able to connect with people as foreign as places or situations may seem. I'm able to get out of my comfort zone and connect with people.
All right, Shannon?
Well, I just came back from Egypt, and a lot about what I learned is just to be ready for the unexpected. When I was going to Egypt, I didn't even know if I had a house to live in as I was flying over there. So I think I just enjoyed learning from other people, learning to get comfortable with uncomfortable, and I had a blast. Traveled everywhere in Egypt, traveled to Jordan, Oman, and just loved learning from other people. And I think that how that relates to being an American is, especially as we go to serve in the Army, there's people from different perspectives and places that they've been, and just things on their mind, and I think that that's just what makes us Americans. So just being able to separate myself from the US and learn that, like we talked about today, getting a new perspective, that's what I really enjoyed and learned from being abroad.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. You know, it's all about making relationships and making those connections, making friends along the way, because I think, you know, in the United States, our country's so big, there's so many different places, so many different cultures and backgrounds that it's nice to connect with people.
Shannon, you graduated basic combat training with a black eye, and it looked like this. Why did that happen?
So basically, there was a girl that was taller than me, and all my like trainee friends were like, let's just put the two girls together because we had fight night pretty much every night. So her and I decided to kick or slap box, and she cheated, and she, instead of hitting me with just the palm, she punched me. So I graduated with a black eye.
How did that go over? What did the drill sergeant say the next morning? Private Hutchens!
The drill sergeants were like, so what happened, trainee? And I said, ran into a bed. And they said, all right, we'll let it slide. And then other drill sergeants from like another battalion came in for the bed checks, and then like took a picture of me with my bun up and my black eye, and they were like, oh, she's the one that everybody's been talking about. And this was like the night before graduation. So my parents didn't ask any questions, but when I showed up to high school like a week later, everybody was asking me what happened, and I just let the rumors spread of what happened, and that's the story.
Wow.
My drill sergeant was proud. He was like, hey, if I had a daughter, I would let her rock with it. So I was like, I don't know if I should put on makeup for like the commanding general for our graduation. And he was like, I would just rock with it. So I did.
That's hardcore.
Good stuff. All right, anything you guys want to ask me before we move on our trail to the top of Mount Capsaicin?
Sir, what is the wildest thing that you have done but survived?
I'll never forget just the uncomfortable feeling of we'd been doing operation all day long with the Afghan National Police, and it's getting dark, and they don't operate well at night. This is 2009, and they want to like head back from where we are because they know it's not a great area, and we're trying to maneuver with us back to a location to be fairly secure so we could set up security for the night. And just the tension was, you could cut it with a knife. And it was one of the few times where I was feeling pretty agitated because I didn't feel in control. It was very hard to know where the threats might be coming from, and I was just concerned about where we were because it's a pretty vulnerable position. We did not take contact on the way there. We established security. There were some shenanigans that night, but we were well in control. But I mean, like, I felt very much in danger, which is an unusual feeling. So that, I mean, I guess you want to say wild. That felt very wild, but it worked out. I probably should have had a lot more faith in my team, and it's not like I'd lost faith. It just felt uncomfortable.
Yes, sir.
I'd say the second wildest thing, if you want to think about it that way, are just all the fun military training stuff we get to do, like rappel towers and things. Like, people pay good money to do that stuff. I got paid good money to jump out of airplanes. Like, that's pretty cool. I know you're very interested in that. That every time it feels new. Most of my jumps were a night jump, whether or not it happened at night or not, because I closed my eyes. I'm just being honest.
But you've never had any injury?
One jump injury. Sometimes you don't get to pick what you're going to land on, but yoga and physical fitness and physical therapy helps.
Yes, sir.
And being prepared. I got through it. All right, let's move on.
All right.
This is the garlic honey sauce. It's really good.
Oh, it's the end. All right.
Dang, you're gonna make me eat that.
Yep, you can have the ant wing.
Oh, sweet.
This sauce is made by Pepper Palace, which are in Sevierville, Tennessee, right next to Dollywood.
Oh boy. Good old Dolly and Pigeon Forge. I like this one, it's pretty good.
Absolutely, they're all good. All right, Shannon.
All right.
We've got a dilemma here. You say that you're comfortable calling a hot dog a sandwich, and the examples you give are that's very similar to a shawarma or a gyro sandwich. Jack thinks it's a taco, not a sandwich. Defend your positions. Who's right?
All I'm gonna say, tacos are hard shell. I don't even know why you brought up a taco.
What? Okay, not all tacos are hard shell. There are soft shell tacos. Look, Tacos, you have it spread open, you drop something in the middle, and then you fold it upwards. You do that with a hot dog, a bun is basically opened and folded upwards.
So what's a gyro? It's like
A gyro?
Taco? Or?
A gyro is its own special thing.
Well, then why can't a hot dog be...
Because it's the same process as making a taco. You open it up, drop it in, and then you close it upward, and then you hold it like this. Come on, if you eat a taco, you're not gonna like tilt it any way but hold it up. So with a hot dog, you're gonna hold it up because you don't want that hot dog popping out between the buns.
Yeah, but why is a gyro special but not a hot dog?
Look, I haven't studied the gyro enough, but I'm just saying there's a bigger correlation. There's a bigger correlation between hot dogs and tacos. Yeah, I know what shawarma is.
What is it?
I don't know.
Silence, radio silence. Shawarma is literally a hot dog bun, but with shredded meat. So
maybe that should be a taco.
Okay, so then you're just gonna say that everything's a taco.
Hey,
instead of
what? No,
sandwich.
burgers are not tacos. Those are sandwiches.
Okay, so that's why I said a shawarma is basically a hot dog, but with shredded meat. So if a shawarma is considered a sandwich, in Arabic, sandwich, it's literally the English word for sandwich.
Well, maybe they don't, maybe hot dog's just hard to say.
Well, I think that they're just all sandwiches.
I think they're both essentially the same thing. And if you think about what the Earl sandwich did when he invented the sandwich, was a food that you could eat with one hand while doing something else. So maybe they both qualify.
Yep.
Quite possibly. It's still
Can't eat
delicious.
tacos without two hands.
We can come back to this later.
All right, Jack, one of your favorite memories here goes back to rushing the field your freshman year. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, so, that was a good time. First football game of the school year, and also it was a big moment for the whole school too, because it was the first football game at Virginia Tech following COVID. So lots of people are like flocking to the stadium. They're excited. The energy's there. Like everyone's like jumping up and down to enter Sandman. And then in the final quarter, Tech manages to pull ahead, and we win the game once the clock ends, and all of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, a freshman, my hair's like, I have no hair on my head, I'm bald, and I just see everybody like jumping onto the field. Start with one person, but then all of a sudden, like one after another, people started following, and it just became this massive flood onto the turf. So, like everybody else, I was like, what the heck, let's go for it. I jumped over the rail and then just started running into the middle. They started playing Enter Sandman over the speakers, and everybody was jumping up and down again. It was awesome.
Nice. I was at Army when the Army team was not real great at football, and I remember when we won our first game in, I think it was 3 years. We rushed the field, tore down. It's the one time at that place where they let us get away with like serious shenanigans because we tore down the goalpost. I think one of them ended up in Lusk Reservoir, which is this pond like right next to the stadium, and the other one went down into the Hudson River.
Oh wow. Sure. Can't say it got that crazy here at Tech, but
it has before. I know that's the case.
Yeah.
All right, anything you want to talk about before we move on?
Sir, I'm curious. What's one place that you haven't visited yet that you really want to go visit?
Well, it's ironic because the Army is sending me there. My unit right now is safeguarding human life and defending the nation at the southern border. So making sure that people who are moving through there are doing it according to the law and that doing it in a safe manner, right? And supporting law enforcement in that mission. And I want to explore the American Southwest, so I'm going to go hang out in West Texas this summer and learn about it. I've wanted to visit the high country since I was a kid. I drove through once when I was a really young man, and it's been in a place that fascinates me ever since. So I'm going to go check it out, and not on my own dime, so that's a bonus.
Awesome.
That's one of the cool things the Army does for us. Shannon knows what I'm talking about. They send you places to do a mission, and then you benefit from it because you find out more about our world and about the human experience. Pretty cool.
Nice.
The real question is, how many hot sauces do you expect to add to your collection from Southwest?
I don't know. I believe West Texas also does the Hatch chili thing, so I'm gonna explore. We're in with local communities down there and part of what's going on, so I'm going to learn quite a bit. I think I'll be based out of Marfa, Texas, as kind of the central position, and I've never been there, so I'm looking forward to the experience.
Nice.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, next
This is a really good one. I love this whole line of sauces from Melinda's. This one is a ghost pepper sauce, but it's really good, so don't be scared.
Gosh.
Oh no, not the ghost pepper.
That's what I'm starting to feel hate.
We're hanging in. We're hanging in there.
It's a significant increase from the last one, but you'll be okay. All right, Jack, you got to tell us about the time that you tried to prank your swim team, but ended up getting sick as a result, and ironically had to go to the hospital, and your prank became reality. What happened?
So it was sophomore year of high school. For context, my team's from Virginia, but we went up to Maryland, up in Baltimore, on a National Catholic swim meet. So we're there for the 3-day weekend from Friday to Sunday. We show up Friday, do the meet, get ready for the bigger events that are coming later on, and then we have the Saturday session happen. And so all was good, you know, one more day. So we decided to go celebrate while we were still in Baltimore. So we went to the Cheesecake Factory. Everybody got a cheesecake, their own slice. And so I got my slice. You know, this is probably like 10 o'clock at night. And, you know, just hung out with my friends, had a good time, played some video games, chatted with some friends. Also started prank calling some of the neighboring rooms in the hotel just to kind of mess with them. I had a roommate that was, the whole gag was like, oh no, somebody's overdosed on the cheesecake. Like, we need help over here. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's not looking too good. Just messing with some of the other neighboring rooms, and then lo and behold, come midnight, we're all asleep. I start feeling horrible. Something's in my stomach, it's just like, it's wanting to get out. So like, I just run over to the bathroom and I start hurling into the toilet. Like, it was so bad. For about 5 hours that night, I was in this constant period of puking into the toilet, jumping into the shower just because I was like sweating profusely, just trying to cool my body down. I'd be exhausted, so I'd like pass out on the ground because like I was, you know, I could feel that I still needed to puke later on. So this went on for 5 hours. Well, around 5 o'clock in the morning, my roommates wake up and they realize like, hey, he's not doing too good. I don't know how they slept through all this, but they finally woke up, thank goodness. So they managed to get the coach. I got some Pepto-Bismol in my stomach and, you know, kind of settled things out. And then I maybe got like an hour and a half of sleep before we had to wake up again for the Sunday session. So at that point, I wake up, I'm dehydrated, my roommates are groggy, and I just like walk out of the room to go to the lobby to get water. And I start feeling lightheaded. Because keep in mind, I've been like puking my guts out for 5 hours. And so I'm walking through the hallway. I get to the elevator, hop on, go down to the lobby, start like kind of like getting blurry vision, like leaning up against the wall because I'm tired. And then doors open, I start making my way to the water fountain. And I'm just so blurry vision at this point that I don't realize there's a stool in front of me between where I'm trying to go and where I'm at, that I trip over it and black out mid-fall. And then all of a sudden, like I just hear in the distance, like somebody call 911, like somebody's passed out here. Only person on the swim team who's down there at this point is myself. So I start hearing in the distance after the ambulance has been called, my coach and my roommates coming out of the elevator, and they're like, oh gosh, wait, that's our guy. So they run up, Jack, what happened? I don't know, guys, like, I'm just like dehydrated or something. I get loaded onto the stretcher, put in the ambulance. Some of the people I prank called the night before, they come down, they realize like, what happened? I thought this whole prank thing was a giant joke, or this whole cheesecake thing was a giant joke. And I said, you know, Lord has a funny sense of humor, so swim fast, guys. And I just like passed out, and like that was the last they saw of me for the weekend.
I heard it became a legendary tale.
Yes, it did. Like that, after the season ended, we did Paper Plates Award for the swim team, and I got most adventurous eater award for that weekend, and it's just transcended the years. I, you know, have some friends who are still at the high school, and they tell me about how they're like passing the story on to the other swim team members. So
nice.
It's a good memory.
All right, Shannon.
Yes.
You've been part of the Virginia Tech Corps Cadets women's basketball team that has won 4 national championships while you've been here.
While I've been here.
And what, 6 total?
5 back-to-back, 6 total.
5 back-to-back-to-back-to-back.
Yes.
That's awesome. How does that happen, and what was the experience like?
There's only 2 people that are still standing that can say that we've gotten 4P, and that's Sid, Fredericks, and me. So I would say the way that this has happened is just teamwork. There's not one person standing, there's two people that can say that we have that. So I think we had a different team in the first 2 years, and Sid and I really wanted to build a team around camaraderie. And so you see that even with two different cultures, we still maintain that title. So, and I think it also is helpful when Master Gunnery Sergeant decides, as he likes to tell me and Sydney, that we didn't work well together freshman year. So during the final, he ended up sitting me out for a couple minutes to get me hot-headed and infuriated that I wasn't in the game, because that's just how I play, I guess. And then he was like, all right, go in, make sure you're picking up buckets, do what you have to do. And so after that, that's what I did. So I think Master Gunnery Sergeant deep down knows what I need more than I do.
Like any good coach, Master Guns knows his people.
Sir.
All right, you ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is a significant jump up. This is Elijah's Extreme Regret. It's actually rather tasty despite that name, but it does pack a punch. I hope you enjoy.
My stomach is turning with nervousness.
I guess I'm gonna have to thank Elijah for this.
Eli. Eli's mad because he didn't get as many wins as the girls did. That's why he's doing this. There's definitely a delay.
I was about to say, first bite was fine, but now it's sneaking up on me. Still hanging in there.
One more.
For someone who didn't think they had any, experience or tolerance for spicy food, you're doing pretty well.
I appreciate it. I think it might just be willpower that's getting me through this.
That's the secret to everything, including the plank. Just exist.
Yep.
I think my sister-in-law trained me well because she's Ethiopian, and I visited her over the summer, or over the fall. And I got pelted with spicy and espresso shots. Now it's kicking.
That's good. All right, guys, now we're going to do my favorite thing to do on the show, which is explain that gram. I'm going to show you a picture that might need some explaining. You get to tell us what was going on. Jack, what's this all about?
So that photo right there, that's at the top of Dragon's Tooth. I was out fighting it now, but I was going for an evening hike with friends to catch the sundown. And so we climbed up to the top of the rock. And the way Dragon's Tooth is oriented, there's just a bunch of jutting rock, and so you have to rock climb your way to the top. So I was the most adventurous of my friends and got up there and just saw the sunset.
Where's Dragon's Tooth?
It's just outside Blacksburg.
Oh.
Yep. So nearby. I highly recommend the hike. It's super beautiful.
I've never been. That's good intel. Thank you, intel officers. What's going on here?
So wake surfing. So my family has a lake house on Lake Norman that we like to go wake surfing and wakeboarding on a lot. So that was a board I had just bought with my summer savings, and it's just such a fun board because it's just I can carve up and down the wave and catch the water without needing the rope to pull me with the boat. So I was just having a fun time just jamming out the music and surfing the waves.
All right. What was this?
Yep, so that was a sophomore year, toughest cadet. I partnered up with Harrison Tone, also an MI guy, to do the toughest cadet. And we just had a great time. Sir, actually, you joined us on some of that journey together.
I did?
Yeah, you told us about your joining, I think it was an Army 10-miler with a bomb suit on?
No, not quite that extreme.
Not quite that? Something along those lines.
Why, I remember that day, and I remember you, Jack. That was, I think you went out somewhat unexpectedly, right? But you got it done?
So I had volunteered to go out, but I was the only one who really volunteered from Bravo Company to get out there that day. I think most people were busy, granted, but Tone, he was the first sergeant. He had to step up with me,
right.
So we were kind of like the ragtag team who just kind of jumped in it together.
Yep. My buddy Gus and I, shout out Gus Paul, decided we were lieutenants, we were platoon leaders together, and we went out on Thursday, and at Fort Bragg at the time, Thursday was combat focused PT. So we had our body armor with our magazines and pouches on the front, because it mounted directly to it. And it happened to be the day they were doing the installation Army 10-miler, and the course started in front of our unit headquarters. So we're like, oh, we'll just kind of run the route for a little bit. And 3 miles out, I looked over and said, "You know we're doing the whole thing now, right?" He goes, "Yeah, I know." We did. I wouldn't recommend it. I wasn't in the shape to do it at the time, but poor Gus ended up with some pretty serious blisters on his feet. So
I can imagine.
Could have been worse.
Oh, it could have been worse, but we got it done. It was good.
Sure.
All right, Shannon, what's this all about?
All right. So that was me diving in Oman. That was my second diving experience because I got my PADI certification in Jordan the summer before. But this was one of my Project Go experiences, and actually that is when I almost drowned diving because you're supposed to check the gauge, and the gauge tells you how much oxygen you have left. And I was pretty meticulous, and I was making sure that I would check that gauge all the time. But what I didn't realize is that the gauge had been flooded, and so it was telling me that I had 20 bar more than I had. So by the time we were close to ending our dive, luckily, and we hadn't gone that deep, but I ran out of oxygen underwater. And so, talk about using the protocol. I was a lot less, I did not react as nervous as I thought I would under pressure, and I just gave the right signals, and my dive buddy came over, gave me her oxygen, and then we resurfaced fine. But yeah, almost drowned in Oman.
Wow. Rehearsals. Wow. Okay. What's this all about?
Yes, sir. Okay, so that was the second year of participating in our Virginia Tech Alpha Team Ranger Challenge. And we had like 3 different slogans that we would constantly talk amongst ourselves to pep ourselves up or fire ourselves up. They chugged a bunch of, I think it was, what's that?
Hoist, tailwind?
Yes, tailwind. Yep, tailwind to right before another event.
All right, last one, Shannon. What's going on here?
Yes, so last year I had the privilege of being the November Company First Sergeant, and we have a bunch of spirit items, and yeah, we have a bunch of spirit. So our company is Berserker or Viking themed. So every year the freshmen actually make an axe for the first sergeant. So I am carrying the first ever established axe, and I'm cutting in, or threatening to cut, my CO Aiden McDonald.
Aiden.
Yep, but that's my cadre team, and that was an amazing experience.
Cohesive crew.
Yes, sir. School.
Nice.
Slogan.
Yeah. All right. Anything you want to talk about before we go to our final wing?
I just need to go for it.
All right, guys. It is the last dab, so it's tradition around here to put a little extra on. You don't have to. I won't judge you.
No, we're gonna go for it.
I'll go for it.
Hey, this is the last episode of Torch One, so
Yeah.
that I will be a part of. So let's make it fun.
It'll be an honor.
Yes, sir. Now, sir, while we add in extra hot sauce, are you going to be doing this in your unit as their commander?
I don't know. I don't know honestly if we'll have time.
Sure.
But if it's something that the Red Warriors are interested in, we can totally do it.
Yes, sir.
Right on. Alrighty. Shall we?
All right, Godspeed. Good luck. Cheers.
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 That was nothing.
All right.
Don't be too cocky.
Well, Jack, as the last dab clubs us to death internally, at least that's the way it sometimes feels. Please explain to us what a jugger club is and how you got involved with the one here.
Yeah, so best way I can describe it is a foam weapon sport. So people make like out of like pipe insulation and carbon fiber rods, these like swords and staffs that they can whack each other with. And the whole premise of it is that there is teams of 5-on-5 where each team has 4 people with weapons and 1 person without a weapon who's supposed to grab a ball from the middle. So this is where it mixes in with like rugby, and you have to bring it to the other side of the field and plant it in a goal. Meanwhile, you have people with these weapons trying to whack you along the way, and if you get whacked, you're down for like 5 Mississippi seconds. So it's really fun, like good team coordination, and like it's fun to get the aggression out. I got involved just by walking on the drill field one day and seeing them play, and I'm like, my inner childhood was like, well, I loved playing with like lightsabers and like sticks as a kid, pretending they were swords, so what's this about? And then I just got involved from there. So I like the people there, they're very fun. Most of them are engineers, but like we still have a blast together, and it's nice to get that team coordination going.
Cool. All right, Shannon, take us home. You good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell us about your paternal grandfather's service.
Wow.
And how that shaped you as a person.
Yes, sir. All right. So, my grandfather enlisted when he okay, hold on. So, before the Army, he was playing football at Elon University until he ended up dropping out his first semester, just got into some bad habits. So he ended up enlisting, and he was enlisted for about 2 years. And then his chaplain Burton, actually led him to Christ. And from that experience, he decided...
Watch the ice, watch the ice. Be careful.
This is my clean sheet.
He decided to go back to college at Wheaton University and pursue chaplaincy. And so my dad's name is Mather Burton Hutchens, after that chaplain. And so after he graduated from Wheaton, met my grandmother, he went and became a chaplain, and then he actually was the first chaplain to ever get the Ranger tab. So that was really cool for me. And so he got the first Ranger tab. And then he ended up deploying to Vietnam, serving as their Ranger chaplain with the 173rd. Came back, went SF, and retired as a brigadier general, or the assistant chief of chaplains.
Who's the deputy chief of chaplains?
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. That is
nice.
That's a career. So what lessons, from what he did you pull away for yourself?
Yes, sir. So, like I said, the Army was only half of his life. The full brevity of his life was being devoted to God in whatever capacity. And so for me, I look up to him, I look up to my dad, and how the values that they had, regardless of where they went, that's how it shaped, that's what drove their service and their leadership. And so I will never live up to that, but I'm just proud that I can wear that Hutchens name tape. And my grandfather sent me one letter in basic training. It said, "I'm proud of you. I would recommend going airborne." And so that's why I want to go to Bragg so bad, to wear that beret for my grandfather.
That's pretty cool. I grew up seeing pictures of my dad in the 82nd as a lieutenant, and having the poster on the wall that he just gave me, actually, that says the Airborne Shuffle. It's not just a dance. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go there for my first assignment. So absolutely. Well, guys, you made it all the way to the top of Mount Scoville. This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell the people what you got going on in your life.
Well, I think Jack and I are excited to head over to Arizona, Huachuca, this summer. Hopefully not die from the heat, and learn about what it means to be a military intelligence officer. So I think that'll be in about 2 months, as long as the Army doesn't move us around. And then, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's gonna be great. Happy to be out there with you, and then I'm very excited to, have my family support, and also go see my relatives who are out in Colorado, and spend time over there with them, see new places, travel the world. So. Yep. I'm just thankful to everyone who's given me this opportunity and pushed me to where I am now. So thank you.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. This was an awesome experience for the last 3 years to be able to do this. So I hope you enjoyed Torch Ones, and that Sergeant Banfield and the cadets that are still here keep it going. River Forge.
River Forge.
River Forge.